So I'm here with Mr. Dan Ariely, professor of psychology and behavioral economics at Duke University and MIT, and author of two international bestsellers, Predictably, Irrational and The Upside of Irrationality, both also available in Dutch. And we're here at the conference Design for Conversion, and I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Your books are about irrationality and how people make decisions, and that they can be quite irrational in sometimes. And I was wondering about when website owners use this online, this tendency of people to be irrational. When they use this in order to sell online, do you think that's an honest thing to do? Do you think that's dishonest? Do you think that's unfair?
So I think there's a question of which tricks are they using. So we have lots of tricks in our toolkit, and the question is which one are you using and to what extent. So think about something like social proof. Social proof is the idea that people like to do what other people are doing. So for example, if we take something on Facebook and we like it more people are excited, more people are doing it. If we take a song and we start downloading it more, and there's the information about downloading, more people will do it. So if you're using that as a seller in an honest way, you're just conveying to people what is popular and what is not popular, that's okay. If you're tricking people and you're changing the numbers, now it's not okay. So I think it's really the issue of what are you doing. Or here's another example. There is something called an all-in auction. An all-in auction is the type of an auction that everybody who participates loses some of their money. So here's an example. There's a limited example of an all-in auction is that just the two people win. So imagine I sell a 20 euro bill. And I have the rules of the auction. It says it starts with 1 euro, it increases by 1 at a time, and then the highest bidder pays and gets the 20 euro bill, and the second highest bidder also pays, but they get nothing. Now, this is only the top two participate. What happens? To make it simple, let's make it 10 euro. What happens? Somebody says 1, somebody says 2, somebody says 3, somebody says 4. At some point, somebody says 5 and somebody says 6. If we stop at that point, the person who pays 5 will pay 5 and get nothing. The person who gets 6 would pay 6 and get 10. So the person with 5 goes to 7. The person with 6 goes to 8. 9, 10. Now if we stop at 9 and 10, the 10 person gives 10 and gets nothing. The person that says 9 gives 9 and gets nothing. We go to 11. And it continues and it continues. There are websites that do this stuff. That every time you participate in a bid, in an auction, you lose some money. So you see an iPad for an auction, and it's only 50 euros, and it looks like a great deal, and you'll only lose 5 euros if you bid, but so many people lose money that eventually it makes the websites are very profitable.
Do you think this is a moral thing to do?
This is clearly not a moral thing to do. So I think that every time you abuse people like this, where people don't really understand the rules of the game, they don't understand that they're going to lose, this is incredibly unethical. So I think there's lots of examples of abusing people, which I think are just disgraceful. And there's some examples of using things correctly, in which it's honest and truthful and so on, and that's perfectly fine.
And apart from irrational behavior, there's also this tendency of people in your latest book, the honest truth about dishonesty, the tendency of people to be just a little bit dishonest. Do you think there's ways that online entrepreneurs or e-commerce companies can use this tendency in their clients in order to sell more online?
So, I think that this idea of dishonesty is basically the idea that we have some selfish things to gain, but we want to think of ourselves as honest people. So I think, for the example, the issue of are you buying fake goods? Are you buying counterfeit goods? Kind of fall into that. It's not exactly moral, but can you create a website that makes people feel that it's moral? I think downloading illegal stuff online, right? Again, not something that people is legal. I mean, it's called illegal downloads, but people don't feel bad about it. And I think actually the internet is full of those things that people can misbehave, but think of themselves as good people. People exaggerate in online dating who they really are. They download all kind of illegal stuff. They basically get all kind of benefits. There's also issue with coupons and so on. But
do you think it is honest to stimulate this kind of behavior?
No, I don't think it's honest to stimulate this behavior because first of all, there's a question of trust is a public good, right? If you think about trust, we all benefit for a society that has lots of trust. And once the trust is being taken away, we all lose. So I think that by actually chipping away at trust, we don't just hurt a particular person, we hurt society. Think about banking, for example. Every time a banker does something really bad, they hurt their particular bank, but they also hurt the trust of the banks more generally. And now we want to regulate them to a higher degree and so on. It's really bad for the system. So I think trust is something we should try and keep as a public good.
Okay. And what I really liked about your book is that you're being very honest about your own dishonesty. That you give lots of examples in which you have you've caught yourself being dishonest. How about irrationality? Have you caught yourself being irrational online?
All the time. So first of all, online temptation is just everywhere. I mean, I think email is incredible, right? You get email in a random sequence, you never know. Most time it's not interesting, but I catch myself, reading email in the bathroom and sometimes in my car. I don't want to admit this, but texting and driving is incredibly common. There's the temptation of buying things that you just come out. Waiting for Apple products to come out. I mean, there's just so many ways in which I behave irrationally. But, I often start my research by thinking about my own behavior, think about what I do badly, and then I try to see whether empirically it holds for other people as well. So maybe I should be thankful for my own irrationalities because it gives me a window for research.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.